Hello. Hi. Hello and welcome to the Therapy by Craft YouTube channel. My name is Eunice. I am the maker behind Therapy by Craft, and I am so glad that you're joining me today. This is going to be like a July recap video plus the birthday dress video because the birthday dress is one of the things I finished in July and I can't wait to share it with you. So, yeah, I hope you have a project or I hope you have something to do while you sit and chat with me for a little bit. Yeah. I am wearing a very old make from like 2021, I believe. This is the Hattie tee. It's a crocheted top. It is the Hattie tee by the designer Woodward Designs, and it is made out of, I made mine out of DK cotton yarns, just like a whole bunch of DK cotton yarns, and it is perfect for the summer. It's actually perfect for the office. It's not perfect for the summer because it's DK weight and it's like, oh, there's like some weight to it. So I don't like wearing this outside. It's kind of warm, but in the office, it's perfect. I have like an AC unit in my office, like actually inside my office that I can control the temperature. And it can get a little bit cold in there. I prefer that. So I like wearing this, and it is, yeah, it's really fun to wear. I've gotten a lot of compliments on this as well, and people will be like, "What? You made that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I did." It's just one of those. So yeah, check it out if you are into crochet tops and you want to, make yourself one of these. Woodward Designs. This is the Hattie tee. Okay, so let's jump in with my finished objects in July, my July stats. My stats aren't that great, or let me back up. It's not that detailed. There's not that much data to share with you. But I do want to review kind of what I made. I finished 3 things in July. 2 of them were socks, one of them which I'll share with you today, and one of them was Samantha's birthday dress. I think it just goes to show how time consuming that birthday dress was. There was a lot of like making, trying things out, ripping it back, trying it again. I loosely based it on the Viola tee by Sarah of Noel Knits, but I didn't have like an actual pattern to go off of for the other parts and the modifications that I made. So that is what took up a good chunk of my time in July. So yes, I had 2 socks that were finished in July, but everything else I think ended up just being whips that were lingering in the background. So even though these 3 projects were not the only projects I was working on, finishing that dress was a top priority. Like I needed to finish that dress. So yeah, that's what I did. I think do I have grams? I know that the dress itself was like 218 grams out of my stash. One of the socks that I made was, I don't know. I guess I didn't weigh it. One of the socks that I made was 67 grams total. And then I think the other pair that I made was somewhere around the same. So what is that? Like 140 plus 218 grams. What is it? 360 grams? About 360 grams out of my stash. I did not count how many skeins came into my yarn collection, so we will not discuss that. But yeah, that's July for you. I am hoping that in August I'll take better notes. Everything that I talk about today, by the way, I will have a Ravelry projects page for. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Therapy by Craft, and I'll link down below all of the details for, well, no, I will link down below the project page for the projects I talk about, and in that project page will be details for the projects that I talk about. So let's do finished objects. One of the socks that I finished in July were these. I'm calling this my Palm Springs block party socks. This is made with Dusty Yarn Co.'s Palm Springs mini collection or mini set. And I am so pleased with them. Look at how cute they are. I mean, honestly, how freaking adorable are these socks? Are they not just so much fun? I got the collection. I got the mini set with the intention of adding them to my Scrappy blankets. I had gushed about how amazing and how adorable these colors are in my last episode, but I will gush again because it's worth noting and because it's available again, like right now, as of, what is today, August 4th? It's Sunday, August 4th. As of August 4th, you can also get a mini set of Dusty Yarn Co.'s Palm Springs collection. She brought it back because of course she can. She can do whatever she wants. She's her own boss, and I'm so proud of her. And I'm also very pleased for you because now you can get your own mini set. Anyway, I digress. I remember purchasing it because I liked all of the colors together. Every so often I see a collection and I can't just pick one, or each color is good, right? But together it creates this emotional experience that I really wanted to keep the yarns together. So I could not afford to get a skein of every single color, but I could manage to get the mini set. So that's what I did. When I received it, I took one look and thought, okay, they need a project of their own. I can't just put it in a blanket to get lost in with all of these other colors. I really want them to have like a space to exist together in one single project. And I hummed and hawed about what project to put them in. I was thinking about maybe just doing like 10 round stripes and just striping them, but I was like, oh, that's too basic, even though I love those also. I just wanted there to be more of each color and not have it all be blended in together. Then I saw Full Moon Fibers Christmas pre-order, and in one of the samples that they made with their 5 color mini set, they had made these like very chunky color blocked socks, and I was like, yep, that's what I'm gonna do. That is what I'm gonna do. And so I modified it to make it work for me. I wear a women's US 7, and I will tell you my numbers. And if you miss it, again, it'll be in my Ravelry projects page. But I basically did like each block ended up being about 25 rounds. So the cuff is 25 rounds of 2x2. Then this is 25 rounds, 25 rounds. Then I did 15 rounds before the heel, which I did a shadow wrap heel. And then I did 10 rounds after the heel. So this is 25 rounds that's been split at the 15 round mark. Another 25 rounds, and then whatever I had left, I did that many rounds. I think it ended up being about 5 rounds that I had left to go on the foot for my size, and then I decreased for the toe and ended up being very evenly spaced out, I think. I mean, these sections for sure, because they're all 25 rounds, but even the toe and the heel, I'm very happy with the color distribution. And I was able to use all 7 colors of the set. Wait, 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, oh, all 8 colors of the mini set. And I have them not matching, but yeah, I'm just very, very pleased. So that's finished object number 1. Go check out Dusty Yarn Co. I mean, honestly, I'm so glad that she brought this collection back in particular because I love these socks. There's no way I could love these socks more. Like, just everything about them. I'm very, very excited to wear them out and just, I don't know. I'm very happy. Oh, the other thing is that I made sure to use, to distribute the colors so that the first 4 colors, so 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, these 4 colors, that if I used it on the leg of one foot, then I would use it for the, wait, what did I say? The leg of one sock, then I would use it for the foot of the other sock, and vice versa. That way, if I wear the socks together, I can see all 8 colors of the collection here, and then all 8 colors of the collection here. So if I wear them in my, obviously, like if my shoes are on, then I can see all 4 colors on the leg. And then if I have them under sweats or something and I'm wearing them around the house, then I can see all 4 colors on the heel to toe. So that's what I did. Okay, all of my socks, by the way, I make on US ones. I do magic loop. This is roughly following Kay of the Crazy Sock Ladies vanilla socks on magic loop. 64 stitches, that's the size that I use. But her pattern has the heel flap and gusset. Obviously, I did not do the heel flap and gusset. I used the shadow wrap heel. It's a modified version of the tutorial that Earth Tones Girls has, so I will also link that video below. But yeah. Okay. My next finished objects are also a pair of socks. I'm going to save the dress for last because I have the most details on that dress. These socks I actually finished this morning. But like I said, I know earlier I was like, oh, the 10 round stripes are basic, but also they're not. Case in point, ta-da! These are my very scrappy, very happy pair of socks. What number is this? This might be pair number, is it 25 or 26 of the year? Which is super exciting because I honestly was going to be so proud of myself if I made a pair of socks per month. So in the beginning of the year, that was my goal. I'm just gonna make a pair of socks per month, and I've already exceeded that goal. It is the beginning of August, and I'm pretty sure I'm averaging about 2 socks per month, which is amazing. I am so proud of myself, and it sounds to me, and it seems to me, based on how things are going, that I ain't stopping anytime soon. So yes, very exciting, very exciting. I made these, with my Row One minis. I forget what month it is, or what month it's from, but this is Storyteller Stitchery yarn. It is a 2-ply 80-20 blend base, and I think each sock is about 26 grams, and together it ended up being like 57, 58 grams. And I am in love with them. I have been dying to make scrappy opal socks. I see them everywhere, and I do have enough opal yarns to make opal scrappy socks. But I haven't like really broken into my opal socks enough to where I have these like little scraps to mesh them together. But when I got the Row One set, yeah, the Row One set for the Storyteller Stitchery, all of them were so fun, and each like 10-gram mini was, I don't know, there were such fun colors that I thought, okay, instead of putting them in my scrappy blankets, which is what I'm pretty much doing with a lot of my Row One subscription yarns, I decided to make Scrappy Socks instead, and I'm so glad I did. Seriously, I can't tell you how much fun these socks were. I started these socks. Oh, I didn't give you start and finish just for the other one. I started these Scrappy Socks on June 30th, and I finished them today. So it was less than a week to make these Scrappy Socks. And I'm in love with them. These are actually going to be a gift for my mom. Her birthday is in the middle of August, and she'll actually be in town when it's her birthday. So my plan is to make her a box of socks because she is such a knit-worthy individual, and I made her a pair of DK weight socks a couple years ago, and every so often she'll send me a picture of her wearing them, and she deserves more socks. She really deserves more socks. So this is a US women's size 6. Her feet are a little bit smaller than mine. I made hers with a heel flap and gusset because I don't know if the shadow wrap heel will fit her very well. What I do know is that she just really likes it when her heel area is a little bit more like cushioned. So I think the heel flap is going to just be better for her. Interestingly enough, I don't know if it's because of the base or because I'm striping them in. I thought that since she was a US 6, that I would have to do less rounds for the foot, but I still ended up doing, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I still ended up doing 70 rounds for the foot. Isn't that interesting? Yeah. I usually do 70 rounds for my foot on like a 75-25 base. And I thought that since the 80-20 was a little bit more plump, that it would take me less rounds to get to the, the size that she would need. But no, that's not what ended up happening. Very, very fascinating. What helps me know what size to, or how long to knit to though, is my handy dandy sock ruler. I have to say this is maybe one of my favorite notions as a sock knitter. This is by Twice Sheared Sheep, and it's like a slap bracelet type thing, but it has the measurements for a foot, or measurements for a foot. It has it measures for you how much you have to knit to get to whatever size shoe you need. I think what happened with me is that my gauge is getting a little bit tighter, which I don't mind at all. I think it makes for nicer looking socks. It also fits more nicely. It doesn't get loose. And so I'm not mad at all about my gauge getting a little bit tighter, or my tension being a little tighter, but it does mean that I can't depend on my magic numbers like I usually did, or that I used to do in the beginning. In the beginning, when I was first knitting socks, I just thought, oh, okay, I have these magic numbers, 20 rounds for the cuff, 60 rounds for the leg, whatever heel I want to do, and then 70 rounds for the foot and then a toe. That was kind of what I had in my head. I didn't really measure every time, but now I'm realizing, oh, depending on the day, depending on my gauge, depending on the base, my tension changes. And so it really has been helpful to have one of these, or to have a sock ruler in general. This is great because it's small and it fits into my sock project bag, and it's really portable. I have 2 of these. I have this one, and then I have like a blue one, but it's been great to have that on hand. I will tell you that some other socks that I've knit for myself, which is a US Women's 7, I've knit 60 rounds or 65 rounds, and that was enough. This one, for whatever reason, I knit 70 rounds to get a US size 6. But again, like, that's what the ruler said, and I trust it, because when I even tried it, I was like, this can't be right. This is gonna fit my foot. I tried it, and I was like, oh no, the gauge is just different with this yarn. So anyway, that's a side note, but yeah, these are socks. These are the first socks that are going in my mom's box of socks for her birthday. I'm hoping I can make her at least 3 pairs. But yeah. This is my finished object number 2. And then the last finished object is the long-awaited birthday dress. Let me show you. Let's do the big reveal, and then I'll talk about it. Da, 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 da. Yay! Isn't this so cute? I'm so happy with this dress. So if you guys are joining me for the first time, this is Samantha's birthday dress for her birthday this year. Her birthday is at the end of July, and this is actually the second birthday dress that I've made her. Last year I made her a birthday dress and she loved it, and I guess, yeah, she wore it year round. And this year, around the end of June or maybe early June, sometime in June, she was like, Amma, are you going to make me another birthday dress? Because this one, which is the first one I made her last year, has 4 candles on it, and I'm not going to be 4 anymore, so I can't wear this dress. I'm like, yeah, you can. As long as it fits, you can wear it. But anyway, her point was she would like another dress for her birthday, and I thought, girl, I got you. I am happy to make you all of the things as long as you're happy to wear them. And it pleased me so much that she not only enjoyed her birthday dress last year, but she enjoyed it enough to wear it all year round and to request another one. And of course, my mama heart burst into 100 million pieces. And I said, yes, of course, anything you want. What do you want? What do you want? Would you like me to knit you a pony? I will knit you a pony. Whatever you want. So I took her to my little yarn shelf and I asked her, I pulled out some cotton yarns because last year I made her dress with wool and it was fine, but her skin has been a little bit sensitive this year. So I pulled out my cotton yarns and said, why don't you pick a color? This is the color that she picked. It is a mustard yellow. It is the 4-ply cotton yarn by Woolyknit. It comes in these like 500 gram, or does the cotton one also come in 500 grams? Or is it 400 grams? I don't know, but it comes with a lot. And I had like 3 or 4 different colors, but this is the one that she wanted. And this year, I wanted to make her a dress that had like sleeves, that had some coverage up top, because last year's was more like, it was sleeveless. It kind of had like a romper feel to it. And because it's a dress, it like kind of stretched, and I don't know, it just wasn't comfortable for her anymore. Or maybe it was fine for her, but I was not comfortable with the amount of pulling that it did and how much it was kind of revealing of her top while she was out and about playing in it. So this year I wanted to make her one that had a little bit more coverage but was still really flattering to wear. And when she picked this color, the first thought that came to mind was, oh, she has a viola tee in this color already. And I will show you what that tee is. This is the tee. This is the tee that I made her last year in this color. She still wears it. It still fits her very nicely. And so that was another reason why I chose to use I keep saying viola tee, but I asked Sarah and she said, oh, I think for me, I think about it as viola tee. So I'm going to call it the viola tee. Since she's the designer, she gets to decide how it's pronounced. Viola tee. So because I know that this is still a good fit for Sam, because I know that she's comfortable in it and she's able to wear it around and play, and it doesn't, I don't know, it just has a really great raglan increase that is very comfortable for her. It doesn't have a lot of bunching in the underarms. So I was like, okay, this is a great template to use for this dress. And that's what I did. I used the same needle, which is a US 4. What's a US 4? I don't know what the milligrams or the millimeters are for US 4, but I used a US 4 pretty much all throughout. I used US 4, and I used a US 2.5 for the edges, but I'll get to that in a bit. My gauge was exactly the same as this one. I actually made the same size, which was the 4 to 5T. Yeah, I think that's the size that I made. And actually, interestingly, I think the 4 to 5 size and the 5 to 6 size is identical. The only where it's different is where, like, how long to knit the body or how long to knit the sleeves. I think that's the only part that's different, but everything else is actually the same. So yeah, side note. Anywho, I did that, and instead of knitting, obviously I didn't knit all the way down, like I didn't knit the full body. I knit to what I thought was about 3 inches from the underarm. It actually stretched to more like 4 inches, 4 to 4.5 inches, because of the weight of the dress. I didn't really I didn't really think about that, but it doesn't matter. I initially wanted it to be like above her belly button. I wanted the skirt to start above her belly button, but it's actually more like at her belly button, and that's fine. And to give it a little bit more structure, I bound off the top portion and I picked up the stitches. So instead of switching the yarn in the middle of the project, I bound it off to give that a little bit of structure, and then I picked up the stitches again. So yeah, that's a modification that I made for this. Then I did a rapid increase. So I picked up, and I actually picked up, I didn't do a ratio of 1-for-1. I noticed that after I made the top portion of the dress, it was kind of wide. Yeah, it like was kind of stretchy, and I didn't want her dress to be like a muumuu. So I wanted to cinch it in a little bit so that it went straight down instead of it flaring out. And I think I picked up stitches at a ratio of 4 every 5. I started off with 2 every 3 stitches, and that ended up like cinching too much. So I ripped it out, and I ended up picking up 4 stitches for every 5 stitches. So that was the pickup round. I did that without using 2 yarns together. I didn't use the pom-pom yarn. I just used the white 4-ply cotton yarn. And then the second round is when I, introduced the pom-pom yarn, which is, I think, Kama or Kata. Oh, what is yarn? I don't know, but it's by Ikigai Fiber. And the colorway is Unicorn, and it is a very cute pom-pom yarn. But I introduced that on the increase row, which was the row immediately after the pickup round. And what I did, I just did like knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over. And then the round after that, I did knit 1, knit 1 through knit 1, knit through the back loop so that it wasn't gapey. I didn't want eyelets. I just wanted to like do a rapid increase. I wish I could tell you how many stitches that ended up being. That would be helpful information, but I did not do that. And yeah, I just knit all the way. This is about a foot, about 12 inches from where I picked up and where I began the hem. Okay. When I did that, I noticed that there were some gaps in between where I skipped a stitch. So you know how I said I picked up 4 stitches for every 5? Well, that 5th stitch left a bit of a gap. And I was so bummed. I think if I were to do it over again, what I would have done is when I was binding off, when I was binding off the first color, the yellow, I think I would have knit 2 together to close that gap a little bit. But since I wasn't really thinking ahead and I didn't know that I wasn't going to be picking up for each stitch, because that's what I did in last year's dress. I bound off and then I picked up like every stitch. But since I didn't know I wasn't going to need to do that for this, I didn't have the forethought to knit two together, the fourth and fifth stitch. So I was working on the dress. I kept noticing the little gaps and being sad about it. And here's how I resolved that. Instead of, being sad, although I was for a little bit, I took my my white cotton yarn and I went in and I did a slip stitch all the way across with my crochet hook. Will it focus? All the way across. And I put a chain and I slipped a stitch in every stitch that I had picked up. So that way I have this little chain and you can kind of see where the gaps would have been. But that way I have a chain that goes all the way around and kind of hides what would have been some gaps in between the stitches, and it actually gives it some more structure, which is what I was wanting. It doesn't it won't want to stretch that far out. Do you see how there's a little bit of tension there? Not a little bit, it's a lot of tension there. So it's not going to like flare out as much as it could if that chain stitch wasn't there. So that was how I resolved that problem. I was very happy with it. I think it gives a really nice detail to the dress as well. Yeah, you can see right here how there would have been a gap, like right here. But I closed that gap up with that chain stitch or slip stitch. I keep calling it chain stitch, but that's not right. It's a slip stitch, surface stitch. I don't know what it's called, but that's what I did. And I did that with a crochet hook. Okay, let's talk about the actual yarn for this. I think the end result is adorable. I like the pom-poms. I think it's very, very cute. But I did not enjoy knitting with it. Oh my Lord. It kept getting caught. The little balls, when you're knitting the yarn, I think we really take for granted how smoothly like the yarn moves together. It like moves, right, as you're knitting it. And I guess it also depends on your tension. But there's like a slidey thing that's happening with the yarn as you are knitting it. With these little pom-poms, it can't do that. And so it kept getting stuck and it was like, it kept like messing with the flow of my knitting, and it was really, really annoying. And I found myself like yanking on it or like tugging it because I was so frustrated, and then it would end up with these are not even stitches. Look at that. It's cute, but it ain't cute. Like the fabric is cute, but the stitches ain't cute. You know what I mean? Nobody cares and it's fine, but I only did this because I love Samantha. I would not do this for the average Joe. Like, yeah. Look at that. Ugh. That is not pretty. That ain't cute. The stitches are like gappy and holy and I don't know. But is that maybe, do I just need to accept that? Or have I just accepted that as being part of the process, part of the journey of working with this yarn? Maybe. I mean, I don't hate it. Honestly, I really love this dress. I really, really do. And maybe it's because I've poured such time and energy and effort into making it that, like I've accepted that, it was worth it in the end. But when I was working with the yarn, I was like, dang. Yeah. I don't know that I would ever do it again. But ultimately, I mean, Sam really loved it, and that's all that really matters. Initially, what I was going to do, which was a terrible idea, was it comes in like a ball, like a commercially wound like ball. And I was initially thinking about doing a center pull. That quickly turned out to be the worst idea in the universe, because as I was trying to like pull the yarn out from the center, it like got caught up. It like hooks. That's what it is. The pom-pom just like hooks everything else to it. And I quickly abandoned that idea. And so I took the yarn from the outside of the ball and just, you know, held it double with the cotton yarn. But then what ended up happening is that the yarn started getting tangled with itself again, because those little pom-poms are like little hooks. It will like hook itself, yeah, like hook onto itself, and two pom-poms would find each other and decide that they were in love and would not want to separate. And I'm like, oh, stop it, like stop being a dick, like stop being obsessed with each other. Just stay in your own little section of the yarn. Like, why do you have to, like, I don't know, try to be together? Stop that. And I was, you know, very often having to go in and untangle the yarn with itself and untwist the yarn with itself. And it was just annoying. So I feel like the end result of this yarn was beautiful and I like it, but the process of knitting with it, it just really gave me a hard time. Yeah. So for those of you guys who are curious, like, oh, how has it been working? How was it to work with the yarn? Well, that's how it was. Would I recommend it? Yeah, I would. If this is what you're going for, then yes, I would recommend it. I would warn you that you might need many, many breaks for your own mental health and for your sanity. But if you are prepared with, you know, a calming tea and some chocolate and, you know, some good dopamine boosting music, then I think you'll be just fine. Yeah. Okay. 2 more things about this that I want to share. You'll notice that all of the edges for this dress are different from the original Viola tee. I did a picot edge for all of my edges. I did that because in the original, first of all, this color work, or the scallop design, I think is freaking cute. I love it. And the way that she has you do the folded hem, there's a row of like purling that you do, so it's just so nice and crisp. Like, it's great. I really like the thoughtfulness that Sarah had in the edges of this design. However, if I was making this out of wool, then maybe I would have attempted to do that, but I was not making it out of wool. I was making it out of cotton, and when I made this with the cotton yarn, it was so unforgiving, and you can see through my color work. Like, the white yarn peeks through the little scallops, and it's ugly. I didn't do a very good job. And even though it's good enough, it ain't that great. And so I just didn't want to put myself through that. So I decided early on that I was gonna omit that part of the pattern when I did this dress. The other thing is that, again, because of the cotton yarn, because there's very little to no elasticity when you're working with a cotton blend. And actually, this isn't a cotton blend, this is just straight up cotton. So there is very little elasticity to the yarn. When I did the collar, it flared out, and no amount of blocking has helped me with this. So, you know, it just is the way that it is. And this is a 1x1 rib. And I just didn't think that I was able to execute the hem like this with this yarn and still have it fit over her head. Like, I just was not confident in my ability to do that. So I said, I ain't gonna do it. I did like the folded hem though. So I carried over from last year's birthday dress, the picot edge, which I thought, you know, is really cute. And plus there's little pom-poms on here, and it kind of has like a, I don't know, it's not pom-pom, but I don't know, something about it. I was like, okay, it makes sense to me. So when I got to when I got to the point where I was ready to make the double folded hem, I switched my needles from US 4 to US 2.5. I did that because when you do a picot edge or when you do any kind of double folded hem, what ends up happening is you're doubling the fabric. And when you double the fabric, that part of your garment becomes thicker than the rest of the garment. And when you're using the same gauge as the rest of your garment, it has the potential to flare out a little bit since there's extra fabric there. And there's literally the double thick, like it is double the thickness of the fabric. So again, it has the potential to flare out. So to combat that, what you can do is to go down a couple needle sizes so that it cinches in the fabric, it makes it tighter. And so when you double it up, that double thickness kind of counteracts with the tighter gauge and you don't get as much flaring. So that's why I did that, in case you were curious. So I went down to a 2.5 needle. I worked about 5 rounds and then I did the picot portion, which is just a knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2 together, yarn over. That's all it is. You're just basically making eyelets. Then I knit for another 5 rounds. I bound it off. Instead of like knitting 2 together, I did that with socks recently and it was just really painful for my hands. Plus I was doing it on magic loop and I was doing it with cotton yarn. So I just said, screw it. I'm just going to bind it off. And then I sewed it down. That's what it looks like on the inside. So what I did not realize, and I think I did every single hem twice, at least twice, because what I didn't realize is as I was binding off, or because I bound off at the very end, I thought 5 rounds, eyelets, 5 rounds. If I fold it in half, like just like sew it down to that very first round that I did, the first row that I did, and it should be fold in half. That was my logic. But what I didn't realize is that because I bound it off, something about that portion of my fabric, it ended up being a little bit longer so that when I bound it off, so I bound off the 10th round or the 11th round to the first round, right? When I did that, it ended up being off. It flared out. The hem ended up flaring out because, yeah, it just ended up being a little bit off. What I needed to do was to sort of overcompensate, and instead of it being like this, is this a good demo? I don't know. Instead of it being like this, I needed to like over so that like the picot part could be a little bit more prominent without it flaring out like that. Oh my gosh, I really hope that made sense. Was that a good visual? I just made that up on the spot. Let me show it again. Okay, so I did the 5 rounds and then I had the picot edge and then I did the 5 rounds again, but instead of folding it in half and binding off the last bound off round to the very first round, I had to like overcompensate and fold it a little bit more and basically bind off or sew down my bind off edge to like one or two rounds below the first round that I did. Yeah, yeah, that's just what I had to do. I don't know why. Because I learned that from both my collar and my sleeves, when I got to this bottom portion, I totally just overcompensated from the beginning. I did not switch to my 2.5, my US 2.5 needles. I kind of wish that I had, but I did not because I let go of my pom-pom yarn and I thought, oh, I think that'll naturally make my fabric a little bit denser. It did not. And the reason it did not is because this pom-pom yarn is so thin. Like it barely made a dent. It like barely made a difference in my gauge, which was a bummer. And that is the reason why you can kind of see, like in some of the pictures and stuff, it kind of flares out like that. I don't want it to do that. I wish it kind of like laid flat, but whatever. I'm not gonna bother too much with it. But you, oh, that's a good example. Kind of how it like bloop It has a little flip. I wish it didn't have that little flip, but it does. But whatever, I'm not gonna bother. So to, I guess, learn from my experience with the hems on the top portion of the dress, I knit 7 rounds, then did the picot round, then did 5. That's what I ended up doing. And then I folded it down and I sewed the bind off edge to the first round. So the inside has 5 rounds while the outside has 7. And I think that helped a little bit with the flaring. Even though it does still flare a little bit, I do think it helped. So yeah, if you have any questions about that, oh my gosh, I feel like I talked on and on and on about this dumb hem, but it was worth it in the end. If you have any questions, let me know. Yeah, last thing I will say is the way that I finished it. I originally was going to do like flowers or something. Last year I duplicate stitched the 4 candles on Sam's dress. I liked just having something to symbolize or to signify the year that this dress was for. So like last year it was for her 4th birthday, hence the 4 candles. This year I was gonna do like 5 little flowers on here for her 5th birthday. But I tried several different like embroidery methods and it just kept failing me. I don't know. A lot of it, like a lot of the flowers that I was looking at required a French knot. And first of all, I don't embroider very much. But secondly, this fabric is very loose. Like the gauge is quite loose and it's cotton. So it's not very forgiving. And when I went in to try and do a French knot, it like just made a big old hole is what it did. And I was like, oh God, I'm gonna ruin this dress if I try to make these flowers. So I scrapped that. And instead, I looked up a tutorial on YouTube for how to stitch something or another. And one thing led to another, and I saw this thumbnail for how to do like to embroider like your kids' names on like a sweater. I feel like that's kind of in right now. I don't know, or maybe it was last year, but I thought, okay, maybe I do that instead. I will put the link down below for the video that I used, the video tutorial that I used. It was really easy. It was really simple. I don't know if she's a crafter, but she had clearly made these types of things a lot. And so she was sharing her tips and tricks for how she got hers done. And yeah, I just did exactly what she said and it turned out fine. I used a worsted cotton yarn for this. I think I used just a white or cream of the Cotton Coastal, the Queensland Coastal collection. I don't know, it's sold at Buku Yarns and it is a worsted weight cotton, 100% cotton yarn. You can see that if I had done it with a fingering weight yarn, it just would have been like way too small. So I did it with the worsted and I think it was the perfect thickness, weight for the little detail at the top. Ta-da! So that's it. Oh, yeah. So that's it. That's all I did. And that is the birthday dress, everybody. Ta-da! Man, I am so proud of this. And Samantha wore it to her birthday party. And you know what I was thinking while she was like wearing it? I was reflecting after the party what my favorite part was. And apart from, you know, people who love her being there to celebrate her, I was like kind of emotional. So dumb, but I was like kind of emotional thinking about how Samantha was literally clothed in a symbol of my love for her on her birthday. And oh my God, I get emotional now. I just felt so thankful for this craft. I'm so glad that I can do that for her, you know, that she can look back on her pictures, or she can have these like tangible artifacts, which can serve as evidence to her of my thoughts towards her, of my love for her, and of my, I don't know, desire to make her feel loved and adored and cherished. So yeah, thank you guys for indulging me in my little speech there, and for being so excited and enthusiastic with me about last year's birthday dress, but also about this year's birthday dress. I'm really happy to share this making journey with you. Yeah. Oh, okay. I need to like, take a minute because I was getting a little misty-eyed there. But yeah, for those of you guys who have loved ones that you make for and who are such gracious recipients of your makes, I know you know what I'm talking about. And I'm just so grateful. Okay, moving on to works in progress. I have a couple. I'll start with my socks that I'm working on. Like I mentioned a minute ago, or many minutes ago, I am working on a box of socks for my mom. And I have this pair done, and I am working on a second pair at the moment. And I'm kind of recycling. Is recycling the word? I don't know. I'm kind of cheating, but I'm gonna say I'm being strategic. I don't know if you guys remember, but I have this opal yarn that I was using to make a pair of socks. I started these a couple months ago. This was before the summer actually, but I made these, and I was saving the second sock for summer sock camp, but summer sock camp came. I started working on it, but I also started working on 100 other things that was more exciting to me, to be quite frank. So I put this on hold and only picked it up again when I started when I went to chaperone Samantha's field trip a couple weeks ago. But what I realized is that I did a heel flap and gusset for this sock. So I am planning to make this my second pair of socks for my mom's box of socks. And I will use my handy dandy sock ruler to see how many rows I need after I do my heel flap. That's the part that I'm at right now. And if it's like significantly less than the foot that I have here, I might just rip out the toe decreases, or like rip out the toe and just redo the toe. But I'm looking at it right now and I think it might be fine. Like a women's US 6 and a women's US 7 is not that significantly different. It's like a centimeter difference. And because the opal yarn is pretty hardy and hard wearing anyway, I don't know, I feel like it might be fine. But anyway, but that's my plan. In any case, that's the plan that I have for these socks. I have so much of this yarn left. Look at how much yarn I have left. Which is fantastic because that means I will have plenty left over for scrappy opal socks, and then I can make something like this again. I'm super excited about that. Yeah, I'm very, very excited about that. So this is a pair of socks that I have going right now. I need to cast on another pair of socks because I just finished those scrappy ones this morning. I am thinking maybe casting on the second pair, or the second sock for this pair. I just haven't touched it since the last time I talked to you guys about it. I think it's because I'm still like about the color. Some of you guys had really great recommendations for what colors I could use instead, so maybe I'll do that. But in any case, like, it's on hold for a second. But maybe I'll just do it and get it over with, because this color combo really does make me happy. The other option I have for sock cast on is this one, the Dunkaroo. I haven't cast this on yet, and it's still technically summer sock camp. And this color is so fun and funky. I am thinking about maybe making this the third sock in my mom's box of socks. But I'm also flirting with the idea of maybe doing a more like neutral color. I don't know if neutral's the right word, but like a calmer color, because this one's kind of wacky and then the other one's a little wacky. So maybe I do another, like my third color can be a little bit more calm. I don't know. Do I want to do that? I don't know. For what? Why? Why do a calmer color? I don't know. But anywho, so this is my only active sock whip at the moment. I think I need to do something about that very soon. And then I have another whip that I started because why not, right? I started another Scrappy blanket. I'll show you what it looks like and then I'll talk about it. This is my Scrappy Granny Square blanket. If you watch Kay of the Crazy Sock Lady, oh my god, I am granny squared out. Look at that. Oh. I'm like this is like a granny square fairy came and just vomited on you guys' screen right now. That's what it looks like. Anyway, if you guys also watch Kate of the Crazy Sock Lady, I'm sure this looks quite familiar to you. It is the same concept. But here, like this is the birth story of this project, okay? Like I mentioned, I am a subscriber of Row One Minis. It is a yarn subscription service, and it comes each month with 10 gram minis. 10 gram minis. Yeah, so it's 100 grams that you receive in the mail. It's called the Carnival of Color, in case you are curious. That's what the yarn subscription is called. The yarn club is called Carnival of Color. And you get 100 grams each month divided into 10 gram minis. I love it. I love the subscription. It is so much fun. I look forward to it every single month. Each time I get notified that it is being delivered, I'm like, wah! Like I get super excited about it. But one thing that I have been noticing is when I use that 10 gram mini to hold double and knit into either my jelly roll blanket or my coziest memory blanket, it doesn't feel very good in my hands if it's an 80/20 2-ply yarn. So the yarn subscription gives you like a bunch of colors, and it gives you like basically a sample of different yarn dyers each month. But because what you're getting are, I don't know, the yarn dyer chooses what base they want to send out, right? So sometimes I'll get like a 75/25 base, but most of the time, or in the last couple of months anyway, I've been getting the 80/20 base. And you don't get to choose, like that's what gets sent to you. And that 2-ply base, I think, I'm still, I don't know, I'm still trying to process it and figure out how I feel. This is a 2-ply. This was the, this is an 80/20 2-ply base. And making the socks with this, I think, was okay. Sock knitting with a 2-ply, I think, was fine. But putting them in my Coziest Memories blanket and knitting them in my jelly roll blanket, for whatever reason, it wasn't feeling very good. It is more plump, and so the gauge is actually off. The squares that I have knit with my 80/20 bases are definitely bigger than the 75/25 squares that I've knit in there. I mean, it all kind of evens out in the end, and when I do end up washing it or like lightly blocking it, I think, you know, it'll be fine. I'm not worried about that, but again, just thinking about the process and the experience of knitting with it, I just didn't like it. What I do like though is that it is plump and it feels a little bit more dry. And because of that, I thought I do think I like crocheting with it more than I like knitting with it. So I tried it out. I made a bit, like a small granny square, and it turns out I really liked that. Like the process of it was really nice. It felt smooth. I was like, okay, yeah, this is what this wants to be. So I am making a DK weight Scrappy Granny Square blanket with my 80/20 Row One minis, and actually with my 80/20 sock yarn scraps, period. Yeah. I think that's all there is to say about that. I realize that I do have some 80/20 scraps. Yeah, I do have some 80/20 scraps because I think that a lot of yarn dyers really like that base. It's a very popular base. Actually, this is also an 80/20 base. And knitting with it on the US one or holding it single to make these socks, it was fine. It was pleasant. But it's just like holding it double and then trying to knit with a US 4. I don't know. Yeah, this much better. So I do have my leftovers. Sorry for the crinkling. I do have my leftovers from the Palm Springs collection. And I was originally going to put all of these either in my jelly roll blanket. Well, yeah, the jelly roll blanket is what I was going to put this in. But I decided, nah, I'm not going to do that. And instead, I am going to put it in here. I'm going to make a couple of squares for my Scrappy Granny Square blanket instead. And I am very happy with that decision. I think it'll be fun. Some things to note about this project. I am using a I'm using a 5mm hook for this. I am using the Clover hook. These are my favorites. Like, it's not the Atimo. I think that's what the Crazy Sock Lady uses. I just use whatever they sell at Michael's. This is the this is the 5mm. I think it's an H hook. And for the border, I am using Knit Picks Swish DK in Squirrel Heather. So it is a neutral. It is a darker neutral. It's blowing out a little bit on the screen, but it's pretty warm. It's like a warmer gray brown. I really liked the description that Knit Picks had about this color, but I cannot remember it off the top of my head. But it is like, it's a gray, but it could also be a brown. It's not a cool color. It's more on the warmer side. And I like warmer colors anyway, so that's kind of what I'm going for here. Some differences or some things that I'm doing is each square is actually 10 whole rounds. I think what Kay does is she does 9 rounds, and then the 10th round is the joining round, but I did not do that. The way that I do my granny squares is I actually turn them like this. So I don't just go around and around. I finish a round and then I flip it so that I'm working both the right and wrong sides of the square. This with the tail is what I'm considering to be the wrong side. This without the little tail is what I'm considering to be the right side. And I wanted the joining to happen on the right side of my square. Technically, it's reversible because, again, I'm working both sides of the square, but I don't know, mentally, that's just what worked for me. So I am doing the border on the right side of the square. And yeah, if you do an even number of rounds, if you start with the right side, then the even number round will be the wrong side, right? So I needed to end on an odd number round. Those of you guys who math better than me will know what I'm talking about. It took a lot of brain power right now to articulate that. But anyway, I'm also doing a join as you go. I typically don't do that. I like to do what's called a continuous join in the round. I think that's the method. I think that's what the method is called. That's what I did for this. So for that, so what I usually do, the continuous join in the round, is when you have all of your squares made and you assemble them the way that you want them to look. And then you take the joining yarn, so in this case, white neutral yarn or natural yarn, and you start at one corner and you join all of the squares together. And that way you have a starting tail for the main joining color and then an end tail, and that's all you have. This is a little different in that with every square you finish, you add it to the blanket. So this, I think, is a join as you go, meaning you join as you finish each square, whereas, again, the previous method, you have to finish all the squares first and then you join it in the round. I decided to join as I go because I realized that every single square is going to be different. So the benefit of having all of your squares done and then joining afterwards at the very, very end is that you can rearrange and arrange the squares however you want. So that no two colors are the same, sitting next to each other or whatever, that you can evenly distribute your color palette the way that you want to distribute it. That's really one of the biggest benefits to doing it that way. But I realized that since I'm using scraps, and especially since I'm using the Row One minis, where every month the color is going to be different, I don't have to do it that way. I can just join as I go. And with each new square that I add, I can decide when I want to stop. So for the first method, right, when you have all your squares done, you kind of have to know how many squares you want to have at the end. So like you need to do a little bit of math in the very beginning where you think about how big you want your blanket or garment or whatever you want to be. And then you figure out how big each square is, and then you do some math to figure out how many total number of squares you're going to need in order to finish your project. With this method, I don't have to do that. I can just join them as I finish each square. And the way that I'm joining it is I did this I joined it this way, and then I'm going to join it this way. And I'm just going to keep going out and out and out by adding to both the width and the length of the blanket in the dimension that I want, and then stop whenever I am satisfied with the dimensions. That's my plan. Since each square is going to be unique anyway, I don't need to worry about arranging them. What's also great is that I can decide after I do my sixth one that I'm done. Like I don't have to commit to making 50 squares or 80 squares or whatever. I can just keep going for as long as I want to go. So yeah, tip for you. That's also what I'm planning to do with the next Coziest Memories blanket that I make. I realized that, yeah, like I just like having the option of having like potential stopping points whenever I want. I don't know if that makes sense. Like if I were to make 8 strips this way or 8 squares down or something like that, then I pretty much committed that that's either going to be the width or the height of the blanket, right? And I have to at least do 6 more or 8 more or 10 more or however many to make the proportions look good. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like having to commit to that. Especially with long-term scrappy projects. Like I want to be able to have the option to stop whenever it is that I want to stop. So that's my little mental trick that I do for myself. And I think that's it. I think that's all the whips that I have going right now that are active. And that's all I really want to say about this also. I am holding my fingering weight double, and then the Squirrel Heather, the Knit Picks Swish DK, I'm not holding it double. It's already DK, so I am holding that single. How are you guys doing, by the way? I'm like I'm over an hour in. Oh, and I still have acquisitions to share with you. I'll make that quick. Oh, I brought 2-ply socks to show you that 2-ply hasn't been working. It hasn't been holding up as well, but that's fine. I don't have to show you that. Okay, so I have 3 acquisitions to share. One of them is yarn. I've already shared that in my stories last month, but I'm going to share it again because it's so exciting and I'm so excited. One of them is a book, and one of them is a project bag. This is a project bag from Mountain State Stitches, and I am so pleased with it. It is so pretty. It is is this called a box bottom? I don't know. It's not like a box, but it like is flat. And it has a fabric that's like quilted. It is a drawstring bag. It has I don't know, something in between the 2 fabrics to make it a little bit more sturdy. And this is my first bag purchase from Mountain State Stitches, and I think I made a very excellent choice. I love it so much. I do feel sometimes like, I don't know, I hesitate with buying project bags more than I hesitate with buying yarn. I don't know if you guys feel like that. Maybe it's because I have a sewing machine and I have fabric. But every time I see a project bag that I really, really want to buy, I think to myself, Eunice, you have so much fabric. You can do that yourself. You honestly, 1, don't even need more project bags. But that logic is a little bit moot because I don't need more yarn, but I buy it anyway. But 2, like, you have fabric. Like, you know the skills that it takes to make something like this. Just do it. Like, you're just being lazy at this point. But also, yeah, and so what? I don't know. But I am very happy with this project bag. I don't regret it at all. I am so excited to use it. Whatever my next sock project is going to be is going into here. And then my other purchase is actually a book. It's a crochet book. I got it at Michael's. I had like a $5 coupon that was expiring soon, and I got a amigurumi type, like a succulent crochet book. Oh my God, look at how cute these are. I am so excited to make them. You know what? This was actually inspired by It Is a Sarah from It Is a Sarah podcast. She is a Dutch knitter / crocheter, and I love her. I wish we were friends. I wish I can knit and chat and have coffee with her on a daily basis. She's just, and actually I can, because she was doing daily videos for a while. I don't know if she's still doing that. Since the Olympics, I've been kind of distracted and not catching up on all of my knitting podcasts, but she used to do daily videos like Monday through Thursday, and she was making these little succulents in her little tiny terracotta pot, and I am so charmed by them. I just think it's so cute. I made one recently, and it didn't take me that long at all. These are very quick projects. And I gotta show you these. Like, oh my God. Look how cute it is. It's so stinking adorable. It's called Crocheted Succulents by Emma Vernham. 25 fun and easy projects. I think this is, who's this published by? The Guild of Master Craftsmen? That sounds very official. But yo, I just can't. These are so cute. and they will not die on you. You do not need to water them. You don't have to put them out in the sun. You can put them where there's no sunlight and you don't have to worry about the temperature. I don't know actually how many of these I'm gonna make. I'm gonna be real with you. But I like having the potential of being able to make them. Yeah, I like having the potential. So this is one of my, one of my newer acquisitions that I'm very excited about. And then the last acquisition that I got is my Buku Yarn Club yarn. It is her first installment. It is a quarterly yarn club, and each quarter you get 3 new skeins. They are all 80s themed, by the way. And it's just like Amanda's packaging is, it is just so cute. It comes like this. And I will just quickly go over the yarn with you because I'm already an hour and 15 minutes in. Okay. This one is called Madonna. Is it? No, it's not called Madonna. It's based on Madonna's like album. But it's called Like a Virgin. It is on her golden sock yarn base. It is a 75 superwash merino, 25% nylon base, but for whatever reason, the softness, the squishiness factor is insane. It's so good. This little tool, like detail. Amanda is the dyer behind this yarn club as well as Buku Yarns. She's the shop owner there. And she normally, I think I was gonna say like specializes. I don't know if that's the word I want to use because I don't know. But she does though. She's really, really great. And she typically does tonal, like semi-tonals and tonals. And it's beautiful. Like it's really, really good. But for this yarn club, she's kind of veering away from that and experimenting a little bit, and I love it for her. I love that for her, and I also love it for me because look how fun these colors are. This is Color by Numbers, that same base. Oh my gosh, I just can't. I swear, she's so talented, and I can't get over these little labels too. Like, it's so gorgeous. And then the last one from this is She's So Unusual. Oh my goodness, how pretty! And it's based on that album cover. I just can't. I'm so happy. I'm like, it just makes me so happy. Also included in this was a Smarties necklace. So cute. As well as some stitch markers. Little cassette stitch markers. It's just so adorable. I purposely did not cake up any of this yarn. I purposely did not take out the stitch markers. I purposely did not eat my Smarties necklace so that I can share them with you and show it to you in all of its glory, because it really is quite glorious. And also because I want to share the news with you that Amanda from Buku Yarns has offered to gift to this channel a sock set, I believe, or some yarn to do a giveaway for 3,000 subscribers. I have not reached that number yet, but when I reach that number, I will be doing a giveaway with Buku Yarns. She's going to give us some wonderfully delicious and squishy sock yarn for me to gift to one of you guys. And I am very, very excited for when that happens. Thank you so much for being here. I am very thankful for you guys. I think that this pace, what is this, like once every 2 weeks or something like that. Catching up with you guys has been a really good pace for me. I have been doing minimal editing, which I hope you guys are still here for. But really it's made it so that I can continue catching you guys up on my projects. I am thankful that you guys are here for all of the meticulous details that I share and the storytelling that I do with all of these projects. I don't know. I'm just saying I really appreciate you guys. So that's it. That is it for my stats from July, my finished objects, my whips, and my acquisitions. Next time I will have some yarn that's already in my stash, not new yarns, but like yarns that are kind of a deep dive into my yarn pantry, and I am excited to share some of those yarns with you as well. But yeah, let's see where I'm at 2 weeks from now. Hopefully my mom's box of socks will be done. Yes. But anywho, I hope you're having a great day. I am about to go and do some more knitting. And I will see you guys in the next one.